Everybody. In this video, I'd like to talk about my own personality typing method by quoting Soren Kierkegaard right here. He who loves himself becomes great in himself, and he who loves others becomes great through his devotion. But he who loved God became greater than all. Now, you could think of these as three personality types: he who loves himself, and he who loves others, and he who loves God, and different possibilities that you may accomplish can be accomplished. These are different powers that we have. Some of us, our power is in the carnal side of our nature, our appetites, and our giving expression to our appetites, our ambitions, our desires. And so these, you could say, are the sensory personality types. They avoid pain to and seek pleasure. This is the basic carnal definition of a human being. Now, being carnal does not necessarily mean bad, and giving expression to your appetites is not necessarily wrong. It's just that these are faculties that we have. We have these needs, survival needs, and needs that we can live to appease the the desires of the flesh. And so that is one aspect of not just a certain type of personality, but every personality type. And so we have those that love themselves. And then you have, and so self love can be a positive force. And there's nothing about that that's negative, necessarily negative, wrong, or bad. Now, these are some of the things I like about Kierkegaard because when you read his books, he was influenced a lot by Eastern thinking or mystics, you could say, in the sense that he understood that it isn't man's dual nature that causes problems. It's that man is in conflict with his own nature. He's in constant conflict within himself. There's a war going on. And so that conflict the person has with their own needs or their own personality is what creates the conflicts in the world and the objective conflicts that we project onto other people. And so you start with really having to know yourself. What are your inclinations? How are you driven? And then from understanding yourself, your own inclinations, then that's how you're able to direct them to produce more effective results or outcomes in your life. So the first book that Kierkegaard published was called Either Or, which relates to two basic personality types: the aestheticist, which is the censor personality type, the one who seeks to avoid pain and to find pleasure and to avoid pain. And then there's the soul, the moralist, the ethicist, Kierkegaard called it in his book Either Or. He wrote it like a fiction novel. He wrote these characters. One was called the judge, which is the ethicist in his story, and the other is called the aestheticist, which is the person that lives to satisfy his own uh, hedonistic desires or need to avoid pain to seek pleasure. And so rather than judging these different qualities or attributes or tendencies in people, you try to understand them first. And so you have the initial aestheticist, then the moralist is sort of like the intuitive personality type, the person who's the stoic, acts out of a sense of duty, believes that uh, he who loves others becomes greater through his devotion. And so he believes that what is in his best interest lies in the interest serving the interests of others. And he's driven by that to the exclusion, to some extent, that he will satisfy his needs simply by seeking those things out. And that's not what he has or abundance he has that gives him the ability to help or serve other people. And so these are, you could say these are different philosophies, but they're more than that. They are just different human tendencies that people serve, either to live, to serve primarily, are drawn to do things that serve them, or they want to find fulfillment through service to others. And then, thirdly, there's a third alternative here, which is he who loves God became greater than all. And this is the alternative that Kierkegaard offered, talked about through a series of books, which is the spiritual realm. So we have so man is a tripart being. So that means that physically he's a carnal being, he has appetites, desires, and that he seeks to find fulfillment. But he also has a soul, a personality that needs nourishment that comes from ideas, and fulfillment comes from within. Ideas are things you can help others, serve others through ideas and things that inspire you, can be a source of nourishment or ability to inspire others as well. And so that would be the intuitive personality type. It's always looking for those things that can serve not just his needs, but others, but simultaneously serve others' needs as well. And then thirdly, there's the religious path, Kierkegaard called it, which he talked about in some of his other books, which is sort of like, instead of trying to save people from going to hell and all of this like we hear in modern times, it's more like we're already in hell and you want to save people from themselves. And so you have to do some of both. You have to follow through service to God is really the only way that you can serve yourself, your needs, and those of other people. And so this became the conclusion that Kierkegaard came up with through the course of all of his books. Now, to make a long story short and get to the point here, these are different paths of exploration. Kierkegaard would call them thought experiments. And so you realize different people achieve similar ends, but through different means, their personalities being different, their preferences and likes and dislikes being different. Each person sort of follows a course that sort of is part of their inclinations, their course that they're already inclined to follow. But the religious course is the one where you find yourself on the outside looking in. You find yourself personally challenged in some ways, where you don't have the support of others and you don't have the same confidence within yourself, but you find a confidence or a faith and trust in God. And so through your faith, trust in God, you find the fulfillment that you really need, which is God, and only God is what you need. And once you seek that, then you'll find the other fulfillment in other areas and aspects of your life as well. Now, this is the first time I've talked about personality types using Kierkegaard as a basis to study that a little bit. But Kierkegaard just to me had a better grasp of history than a typology than Jung did in relation to the Bible teaching, and also in relation to history, philosophy, and other traditions as well. And so the asceticist, the ethicist, and then the religious. The word religion itself means to bind. So those sources that you draw upon, that you feel that bind you, that would be the religious course, the religious action. And so Kierkegaard talked about the leap of faith and how sometimes life you have to take the action to get the understanding or to find the fulfillment that you're seeking. First requires your devotion first to a single idea, which would be God's purpose and plan for your life. So we'll talk more about that in other videos. I just meant this video as an initial introduction into my type method. It's called the Targeted Approach to Enhance Personality Performance. And so before you can serve yourself or other people, you got to start with knowing yourself. And through self-knowledge, that is the way that you begin to understand God's relationship, your relationship with God, and His purpose and plan for your life.